दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad Punjab Express University Station Netaji Bhavan.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Lisa Sthalekar and Michael Vaughan. And Michael and I would just like to tell you that Lisa was supposed to play us in paddle today, and then she chickened out, and we will give her 20 seconds to give a proper excuse.
I was just intimidated by both of you. And I just had a good hard look at myself and I said, what's the point?
Was it something to do with chicken that you ate?
No, wasn't actually. Just a little bug I picked up, but
I think I know what it is, right, Michael? I think it's just how much we sledged her last night. And you know that the Aussies are a little weak against sledging, right?
Oh, yeah.
They don't take it too well.
No, I was actually rocking myself to sleep in the corner, you know, sucking my thumb.
I think she's a warrior. She's actually lived on a pear today.
Yeah.
Literally, that's all she's eaten all day, a pear and had a can of Coke. So
that's it.
Yeah, she's doing well to be here.
Thank you.
I thought you said she's on a pear today. I was like, what? She got off for a duck already?
Yeah.
She's playing again? That's what happens, right? When there's too much cricket happening, you don't think the fruit. You think, well, yeah. Well, anyway, let's come back from, staying on sport, but coming back from paddle, where Michael and I cleaned up today, just saying, to cricket. And there's an exciting game being played today. I'm manifesting it because we've had a few dual ones of late. Lisa?
Yes.
A few dual games? We
have. And, you know, Michael, before he heads off, let's have a nail-biter, I say.
Yeah, I want a good game tonight.
Yeah.
I'm ready for one that goes right down to the wire.
Oh.
Nice close contest, that's what we're after. Last night wasn't a contest, good for Mumbai. We've seen a few iffy chases where teams haven't really thrown a punch when they should have done. Punjab have had a week off.
Yeah.
Having won their first game well. Let's see how that week off's gone for them. But yeah, two powerhouses of a batting lineup, so we should get a better game.
And first time that they're playing in Lucknow as well. So.
Yeah, but interesting that you say two powerhouse batting units in a ground that actually is not really that batting friendly compared to some of the others we've seen.
Yeah, history tells us that it doesn't, but WPL recently was played there and UP Warriors got 225, so that was off the back of a big Chanel Henry masterclass of bombing 90-odd metres into the stands. So if they play on the same surface, there should be plenty of runs on offer.
I also think old money of what was a good score or what wasn't a good score. This is a new era. This is almost like a fresh start in T20 cricket. These teams are playing different. You only have to look at the amount of sixes that have been hit in the first week compared to previous years. The rates of per over are up by, I think, half a run. So you're kind of talking about a new way of playing T20 cricket. So I don't think you can really look at too much in the past.
It's such a good point that things have changed so much in the last 18 years, and they keep changing. Like, the new generation is almost every 3 years now in T20 cricket. And that's what leads me to, at the end of the show, we usually have Joy Factor. We're starting off this one with a GK Factor, because I didn't think too much about the name, so yeah, I just went with the easy one. But yeah, the GK Factor is that today the two captains who came out of the toss individually are making more money this season than the entire purse of a team in year one.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Things change. Things change pretty quickly, don't they?
Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
That is ka-ching, ka-ching.
Ka-ching, ka-ching. It's one man versus the team. But that's it. Inflation, right? Inflation. Bread is expensive. I do want to ask Lisa and Michael how much a quart of milk is. You know that age-old of milk is? What is it? Quarter of a litre?
Quarter of a litre?
Quarter of a gallon? I think it's quarter of a gallon.
Quarter of a gallon, so that's what?
A litre and something?
2 litres? No.
Why are we talking gallons?
Exactly.
Are we Americans?
I'm guessing. I'm thinking back home.
How much is a loaf of bread and how much is a litre
I think it's about
of milk?
£1.80p. What is that in rupees?
180 rupees for a litre of milk?
Yeah, I think so. Back home, I'm going to say I do something rather posh. I order raw milk from my local farm, raw
milk.
Yeah, it's great.
It's not pasteurised at all.
It's the best thing that you can drink, and I pay £2 for 2 litres.
£2?
For 2 litres
You know what?
of raw milk.
I'm going to quit my job and come to the UK and become a cow.
You need a cow or 2 to be able to produce the raw
I'll
milk.
become a cow.
Oh, you want to become a cow? Oh, I
lucrative.
thought you meant you're going to buy some cows. I mean, that's a good effort. I know there's some changes in the world, but I've not heard of many humans decide to be a cow.
But I tell you, if I was to become a cow, I would stay in India because exalted status here.
Correct.
I'd be number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, my name anyway has Gao in it. Come on.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna drop the mic now. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna leave because I can't top this. You're on your own, kids. Bye bye.
What could go wrong?
Have we got to how much is a litre of milk?
Yeah.
How much is it?
Well, I don't know.
I've told you £2 for 2 litres of raw
I am
milk.
lactose intolerant.
So 2 litres back home would be about $4,
It's about £2.25, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking £2.
Excellent. So £2. Not that it affects anything, but I just thought we'd ask that.
But what we need to find out is how much did it cost when the IPL started 18 years ago?
That's what
We're talking about.
Yes.
You know that there's a Big Mac index, right? And there's a Lager Pint index. It's a proper economic index of how much a Big Mac costs everywhere in the world to compare standard of living, inflation, etc., etc. Did you ever think we're going to be talking about world economics?
Well, I know that
when we started the show.
So when we taught lager, I remember when I was about 17, 18, I used to buy a 4-pack of Skol.
Yeah.
And it used to cost me £1.20.
Okay.
So that was 30p a can.
Yeah.
And they had the 30% extra cans for the same price. So £1.20 in 1991.
And now it's?
I don't think that Skol exists anymore. It was awful. It was terrible.
Probably because they were selling 30% extra.
It's about £1 a can now, so £4.
Okay.
So £1.20 in 1991. Now it'll be near on 4 times.
So there you go, 20 crore purse, and now almost 5x of that. So that's what has happened. And well, these are 2 teams that are stacked, as we said. They had good auctions, both Lucknow and Punjab. Punjab, of course, had just cleared the decks, right? And then they got a new captain. They had a new coach, as Ricky Ponting, Shreyas Iyer. And then with Lucknow, they got a new captain as well. They got Rishabh Pant. They had already retained Nicholas Pooran for a humongous sum, which the owner said was a no-brainer for them. And they've built a very formidable batting unit on the back of that. We'll come and discuss their squads and their teams, but first let's have a look at the teams and let's tell you what has happened. Punjab has won the toss and decided to bowl first. So this is their team. You have Priyansh Arya, who was impressive. I like the look of him. Prabh Simran Singh, Shreyas Iyer, Shashank Singh, Marcus Stoinis, Glenn Maxwell, Suryansh Shedge, Marco Jansen. Marco Jansen, Loki Ferguson, Yuzi Chahal, and Arshdeep Singh.
So who will come in to add to that batting in the second innings?
A batter will come in. Who's the batter that's missing here?
So it'll be an Indian batter. Who's not in that group that we've just seen?
I'm just looking.
Who's the batter from their squad? We'll have a look at the Lucknow team, and then we'll come back and look at this. The Lucknow team is batting first, so this is their team. This is the 11 that they're taking. We'll pull that up on the screen. We, of course, have that formidable middle order that we were talking about, the lefties. And I want to ask you this question because Michael, Harsha, all of us, we've kind of weighed in on this. We want to see Rishabh Pant open with Mitchell Marsh.
No.
Why? Lisa, be our friend. Be our friend, Lisa.
No, I think he's comfortable in that position. Why do you want him to open?
Because we think, we actually have a reason. It's not just a quirk.
No, we like his numbers at the top.
How many times has he actually opened?
He's done some damage at the top of the order. And I just think his ability in the first 6 could be crucial. And I think he's the kind of player that can create the foundation. And if you look at him in the middle, he reacts to the situation. His record isn't as good.
But to be fair, most of the top 5, if they were to open, their numbers would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, but he's got a little bit of, I call it the wow factor.
He does have the X factor,
But there it is, right? I think our point was that when he comes at 4, the game dictates how he bats, well as if he opens, he will dictate how the game goes.
Yeah.
So
no, I get that point. And
I think we sent an email, didn't we, just to tell him to do it?
Zach. We called
that's right.
Zach.
We were emailing Zach. Did we get a response?
No, we haven't yet.
Oh, well, that's
Maybe
surprising.
we get a response in, 25 minutes when we see the openers walking out.
Yeah.
You never know,
Let's
it could be. Here's their 11. It's a good batting unit. They're still playing Aidan Markram, so it looks like he will open. Though Markram has the ability to bat at 4 as well. He's done plenty of that for franchise and country. Then there's Mitchell Marsh. He will definitely open. Nicholas Pooran will play 3. Rishabh Pant, Ayush Badoni, David Miller, Abdul Samad, Digvesh Rathi, down to then Shardul Thakur, Avesh Khan and Ravi Bishnoi. It looks like a balanced team, and they'll get a bowler in the second half. But this looks like a really solid team, Lisa.
Yeah, it is a balanced side, and they rely heavily on and the last 2 games they've relied heavily on Mitch Marsh and Nicky P to just come out of the blocks and go bang, like before the opposition is even ready. They've stunned them. So they seem to enjoy each other's company at the top. Mitch Marsh then just kicks back and just watches the game after he's done his job. So life's pretty easy for him.
Yeah, they reacted well for that. That first game they should have won.
Yeah.
Delhi, they should have won that game. They reacted well in the next game. But when you've got 2 players who are so powerful and playing so well, the opposition just think, if you can get rid of Mitchell Marsh early, and then Nicky P can't do it every game. Yeah. As much as he's a real quality, number 3, his record's ridiculous, but I think that's your kind of carrot that you dangle at Lucknow. It's like, okay, if Mitchell Marsh and Nicky P don't have a night out, can Rishabh Pant produce?
But Nicholas Pooran can do it in every game because in the last 1 year he has been doing it in pretty much every game, Lisa.
Yeah, most runs in T20, most sixes, just extraordinary numbers.
Anything which goes 200 plus with your aggregate of average and strike rate, you know that's top quality stuff.
Yeah, and hence why they paid a mozza for him.
Yeah.
So I think he's just an incredible form. And there's times in your career you're in a purple patch. He's that right now, where he's not overthinking things. I just love his ability to, that arc where he goes either off the front foot or slog sweep is perfect. And then just occasionally he'll bring one of the little laps behind, just open up, play with the bowlers and the opposition, and then just keeps going bang. Yeah.
The thing also is that this is actually for franchise, especially in this tournament, it is a new position for him, number 3, but he's like fish to water, but actually he's been batting in other positions for the other teams. Look, just 3 innings in, and 2 of them have come in this year. So
yeah, I mean, you look at, he's only had 1 knock at number 4, but let's not look at that. But you look at him at number 5, fantastic. Look at the average and the strike rate, 240. It's pretty good. He's up there with the best I've seen in T20 cricket. Again, at number 6, not bad. It goes to just over 190. And then you look at him at number 7. I mean, he's over 250 in terms of the aggregate. But at number 3, you look at 247 strike rate, an average of, was that 84?
84.
Yes,
84. My eyes aren't that good.
Would you like my glasses?
I might need your gigs. I mean, that's just remarkable. He just makes striking a cricket ball look very, very easy. It's his balance and his bat swing. He can go either way. He's a fantastic player.
So here's the thing: when you see those numbers, Lisa, you see that this guy is, the man for all seasons, right? He can do the damage at 4, 5. There's so much damage at 5, 6, and 7, but he's got the pedigree. So you push him to 3, he does even more damage. I guess, which is what brings us to the Rishabh Pant point, right?
Yes.
Which is that who does a bowler, and no disrespect to Markram, right? Solid bat, of course. But who does a bowling unit not want to see as 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah. You're looking at Hyderabad and you say, we don't want to see Travis Head, Abhishek and Ishan as a 1, 2, 3. They don't want to see Rishabh Pant, Mitchell Marsh and Nicky Pooran as 1, 2, 3.
So then I'll ask another question.
Yeah.
So do you think the game has changed? Remember when Pollard was around, you needed that firepower in the last 5 to 6. You needed someone that could really bosh it. Are we now starting to see the game change where you put your best strikers and they take the game out of the opposition's hands, and therefore you leave yourself maybe a little bit vulnerable?
Yeah.
That's the debate that we're kind of having. Yes, we can push everyone up, and if they perform well, then it's fine. But if you lose wickets, then you're probably making yourself a little bit vulnerable in the middle to later.
I think you need those players in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think.
But they have David Miller, Ayush Badoli, so they've got the middle players as well.
So what I'm saying is, Tim David's the perfect example. Do I think Tim David could face 60 balls in a T20 game? I don't think he can do that. I think he's a 15 to 20 ball player. Whereas I look at Rishabh Pant and I look at Pooran, I look at Mitchell Marsh, Travis Head. I would want those styles of player to face as many of the 120 as possible, because I think Rishabh has it in him to get 100. He has it in him to get a 125 on his own. You know, if you put him down at 4 and 5, you know, you're basically saying to him, you can get a 50. You know, get us a quick 50. But I just think when you have players that can get you 3 figures, I think you keep it very simple. You get them to the top of the order and you give them that opportunity, and then it's about filling those roles in the middle with players like a Tim David who can strike it, Liam Livingston, you know, those kind of players that can really maximise 15 balls, pretty much getting out of the dugout, getting out there, go bosh for 6. Rishabh can do that, but I think he's better than just doing that. I think he can face you 60 balls and get you a 125.
It's a good point, and it was a great question you asked, and I think I'll take it back to what Pat Cummins said yesterday, where he was talking to his team, and they've had 2 games where, you know, they've had wickets fall early, but they've had so many games in the last season and the first game this season where they scored big and went 250 plus. And I think he said that we will just stay aggressive. And some days it won't come off, and some days we'll lose the early wickets, but we will just continue playing that way. And I think that's what they're doing, that they're pushing, you know, the best players up top.
And they're the ones that have probably changed the blueprint, haven't they, really, within the IPL, that you have to go hard and keep going hard. And the first game proved that. You look at, you know, they literally come, Pat Cummins comes in, hits 3 sixes. And then gets out. So, I get that. I guess I'm still, maybe I'm still stuck in the past, you know, of pitches, making sure that you've got good depth all the way through, which means you're kind of sporadically having your hitters around your workers. But the game is changing dramatically. Yeah,
it is. So you never know. Like, I know this discussion started with Rishabh Pant, but I think it's just come to the broader point of, do you want to just get your best and most destructive hitters to just face more deliveries? We were talking about Tim David being kind of a 10-ball batter. We then come to Glenn Maxwell, who's a bit of a two-ball batter, kind of loses interest. I don't know what happens. He is just, every other league, Australia, you just see him doing it in the IPL.
But he struggled at the start of the Big Bash. I think it was before Christmas. He single digits. And then all of a sudden, as we would say, he pulled his finger out and off he went and scored a lot of runs. But he goes through those ebbs and flows, and I think you've got to understand when you buy him, that's exactly what you're going to get.
He seems to be getting used down the back end more so. I mean, Melbourne Stars were using down the back end as well, coming in at number 6.
And Australia sometimes at 7.
I think they're just, I think the scene with Glenn Maxwell now that he's such a dangerous player, and, you know, 20 balls of Glenn Maxwell can create a huge difference in the game. And you just look at those numbers there. I mean, you know, realistically, after 2021, that's a good year, striking at 144, 513 runs. Not many wickets in terms of 3, but you look at the last, certainly last year, I mean, that's no return for such a quality player in Glenn Maxwell. He's better than that. And I think he's one of those players, I mean, he's won plenty, but he's one of those players that you always think you want a bit more. You know, you always go, oh, come on, Glenn, just give us a bit more. Just maybe every now and again, just not 4 or 5.
Maybe the first couple of deliveries.
Just not 4 or 5.
No reverse sweep on the first ball.
Just 4 or 5 before you get him, because, again, we were talking last night, these players, they can, you know, in our era, it was you would catch up over 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 balls. You know, Glenn Maxwell can catch up in 2 balls. You know, he gives himself 4 or 5 and say he's 2 off 5 or 6. He'll just go bosh because he's got used to conditions. He's seen something in the bowling, and, you know, before you know it, what is that? It'll be 15 off 5 or 6. You know, so you might as well just. I know, and Ricky Ponting is the perfect man for him. You know, I think there's a real respect there in terms of the way that Glenn plays the game, the way that Ricky coaches and manages. I think Ricky admires Glenn in terms of the way that he plays. I don't think there'll be anything from Ricky to put Maxie under pressure to go, oh, you've got to change the way you play. If anything, Ricky's probably going to go harder. Your role in that middle is to go a little bit harder, but I do think he's so good that, you know, it seems a waste when he just gifts his wicket away inside the first 2 or 3 balls. I think he's a lot better than
He was fuming the other day. Like, they cut the camera to him. He was fuming when Maxie got out. Even though you'd think that Ricky, with the Washington Freedom as well, if anyone knows Glenn Maxwell, Ricky Ponting does, right? He knows that when you buy Maxwell, it's going to be like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
But still, you're human. You get frustrated, like.
Yeah, and maybe there was a conversation as well that we're not aware of prior to the match of Maxi, just give me 5 balls or 2 balls before you try something. And you know, he's a red rag to a bull sometimes, Maxi. He goes out there and he goes, right, okay, excellent. There's a gap there, thank you. I don't care if it's the first ball or the last ball I'm facing. This is what I do. There is a fine line with him. If it comes off, we're all praising, oh, what a shot. Like, comes out and plays that shot. And then we crucify him when it doesn't quite work. So I think, you know, even as fans of Maxi, we just have to kind of go, okay, that's him. And
also, I think we've got to be fair that he offers more than just batting.
Yeah.
You know, he's a brilliant.
I think when you see that stat,
you know,
and especially the economy.
Yeah, his bowling's very, very handy, and he's up there with the best in terms of the fielding. So we always look at the batting side because that's really what he is more than a bowler. But I think he adds a huge amount to the balance of sides with his bowling. And he probably saves, 7 to 10 runs in every game, and he catches pigeons, doesn't he? He's always in the hot zones. He's always down at long on. He does so many miles in the field because he's just running to the hot zone every over. So we shouldn't really just judge him on his batting.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I know that it's a topic of discussion a lot, but that's just going to happen, right? That's just the way the cookie crumbles. When you are the big show, people are going to give you, a harder time than some other people, right? And that's just part and parcel.
Yeah, I think he's had to learn that the hard way. He's had times where he's even, was it last year, he took some time out of the game, and so there's a lot that gets to him. And we were talking in the green room, it's like, as much as, and he loves the game of cricket. Like he'll literally be watching every IPL game and kind of soaking up as much information. He's got to learn to kind of switch off as well. I think golf is where he kind of switches off, but he does have a tendency to burn himself out because he breathes cricket so much. So hopefully with Ricky there and there's a good contingency of Aussie guys there that they can just get him away.
I was going to say, I think that's really important to mention that, his IPL record's not great for the player that he is. And I think sometimes you can get to a franchise where they don't quite know how to manage you. And I think some of his teams, there have been coaches and maybe management that have not quite got him. Whereas now I don't think he has any excuse. Because he is surrounded by a brilliant coach in Ricky, and he's surrounded by a load of Aussies, both as players and in the back room. So they know exactly who Glenn Maxwell is, and they'll know exactly how he likes to be managed and how to trigger him. So I think this year's a really big year for him because you can't have any excuses. You can't say, they didn't quite do this to me, or I wasn't quite fitting in with the group, and the management style was a little bit different. That's not going to be the case this year. He will be managed really well by
and he will have to bowl today. When you look down at 11, there's Chahal and there's Glenn Maxwell. So he'll have to take on spinning duties. You might just see him bowling in the power play as well, right? And I'll just come to Chahal, because for Chahal, there's a big test here today, right? For Chahal, the test is that he's bowling against left-handers, and when he bowls against right-handers, he's one of the legends of this tournament, right? When he has to bowl against left-handers, it's like he's a completely different guy. So today, he's our fix the stat today, right? He's our fix the stat. Lisa, how does he fix this stat?
I think they're going to have to use him accordingly. He may not bowl to Pooran at all. They may hold him back and hope that Nicky P goes early, and then he can. But then
there's Rishabh Pant and there's David Miller.
Exactly. There's a lot of left-handers. So I was actually surprised that he was in the side. Sometimes if matchups don't quite work, it's okay. There's 14 games, so you expect the ebbs and flows. No, this doesn't quite work. Let's bring in maybe a couple more finger spinners. But he's a quality player, and he's the type of guy that wants the ball in his hand, doesn't he? So he's thinking, I'm sure everyone's talking about me and left-handers. Give me the ball against them. I'm gonna take the wickets. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, you can tell any guy who bowls for so many years at the Chinnaswamy, he's got to have a big heart, right?
Yeah. I actually think it's because he's googly. Of all the leg spinners, I think it's quite easy to pick.
Okay.
You know, he's bowling to a right-hander, he bowls them great leg spinners, taking it away from the right-hander, spinning it into the left-hander. I think they can pick him quite nicely. He's a wonderful bowler, but I think he's googly. I think he drops his shoulder quite early, and I think it's quite easy to pick. A lot of the really clever leg spinners to left-handers, they've got really good googlies that go across, you know, and they've also got obviously a decent leg spinner, but I think his problem is the fact that they're picking his googly early.
Okay.
So then they can just go with it and take him over extra cover, or they can cut him through the offside.
Yeah.
You look at Chakravarti.
Yeah.
You know, he's a different style of bowler, but I think he's harder. Sun on the Rhine when he's at his best. Goes either way, but I think he's hard to pick.
But on the other side, there's Bishnoi, whose googly is also easy to pick because that's all he bowls. I'm kidding.
Just call him an off spinner, hey?
Well, and he is. Yeah. You know, when right-handers get done through the gate by Bishnoi, I'm going, don't be surprised that it's coming in.
Yeah.
So many kind of go, oh, good, it's coming through the
But
gate.
is it because he's just so quick? Is that what it is? It's kind of whippersnapper action, right?
Yeah, look, again, I've not faced him, but I'd be saying to right-handers that if he bowls a ball like Shane Warne, it goes past your outside edge, just go, wow, I didn't know you had that. But play for the ball coming back into the stumps. If in doubt, he's going to bring it back into the stumps. And if you've got any slight doubt, just go with it to kind of long on. Because more often than not, it's going to be that ball that's just coming back into the stumps.
It's a bit like when DJ Bravo and his slower deliveries. That's right.
Yeah.
So just set up for the slower one, and if it comes quick, then just react, right?
Yeah.
Because at the back end, that's all he's bowling. So he shouldn't do you for the lack of pace.
Yeah.
So this is where, and I wonder how many players really do look at stats and look at the amount of stuff. I think a lot of these guys play that much cricket. They're like, I'll react, I'll see and react. Yeah. But if you can have that bit of intel, like you were saying, okay, he predominantly bowls wrong ends. I'll always play on the inside line instead of expecting it to turn past me. Mm-hmm. Then hopefully you won't get fooled.
Yeah, just on matchups, it's interesting. Lockie Ferguson in tonight pace.
Yeah.
And I just wonder that there will be a matchup or a stat that suggests that Lockie could damage Mitchell Marsh or Nicky P, Rishabh in the middle. Rishabh, when he's come out of bat, couple of bounces, so that extra bit of pace just to try and nullify Rishabh Pant. So there's a reason why Lockie Ferguson is playing tonight. He didn't play last week.
Yep.
And they've got a win, but they've decided to bring that extra pace in, and maybe it is for Rishabh Pant in the middle.
There's some very clever minds in the engine room of both these teams. So that's how we're thinking. I'm really looking forward to this game. And of course, two captains who you're looking at in terms of India cricket. There's Shreyas Iyer, there's Rishabh Pant. So, yeah, a lot of exciting matchups in the game today. And if this pitch does one of those things where it helps the bowlers, I know it's a very rare occurrence in T20 cricket these days when a pitch actually acknowledges the existence of bowlers. But if that does happen, then we're even happier because then there is a contest between bat and ball and not just between bat and bat. Well, Lucknow's going to be batting first. I'm going to show you their 11 real quick and also their impact subs. Here they are. They have Aiden Markram, Mitchell Marsh, Nicholas Pooran, Rishabh Pant, Ayush Badoni, David Miller, Abdul Samad, Digvesh Rathi, Shardul Thakur, Avesh Khan and Ravi Bishnoi. The impact subs, they'll be getting a bowler in. So could be Prince Yadav,
Yeah, he's been
who was impressive last game. And could also be Manimaran Siddharth, who was impressive the previous game.
Yeah, he played
the first game. So they've got a choice to see how the pitch plays and then bring the right guy. Embarrassment of riches. They'd be happy with that. And for the other team, let's have a look at Punjab. And this is their bowling team. Sorry, there's Arshdeep, Chahal, Lockie Ferguson, Marco Jansen, Suryan Shegde, Glenn Maxwell. They may get some bowling out of Marcus Stoinis maybe. Shashank Singh, Shreyas Iyer, Prabh Simran and Priyansh. And their impact subs, have a look at that. Vishnu Vinod, Nehal Vadera, Harpreet Brar, Vishak Vijay Kumar, Praveen Dubey. And so Vishak is not starting, I'm just saying, right? Who did so well in the previous game, tied up Shofin Rutherford in knots.
Yeah, with the Yorkers and everything, yeah.
And the wide, I don't even think he used the pitch. The ball never landed. And I just want to give a shout out to Arshdeep there, because I don't know if you guys caught it on the broadcast, but as soon as Shofin Rutherford came into bat, it was Arshdeep who started signalling Vishak to the captain, to Shreyas, saying, get the impacts up. So here's a guy who knows matchups. Yeah. Here's a guy who was thinking, on his feet at the time. And I love that bit. We sometimes miss all this, but I thought that was great.
Yeah, you want all your players to be thinking and then pass the messages on to Shreyas. And then at the end of the day, it's up to the skipper to be able to decide whether he goes with it or not. But you don't want the skipper to be the only one thinking about the game. And a lot of these guys have got so much experience, right? So share the love.
I loved it because Vishak came and changed the game. He bowled 2 overs for 5 and 5, and that pretty much killed the chase for GT and got the game to Punjab. All right, we're going to get the Joy Factor question and our score guesses in just a second. First Joy Factor question. Let's see what Joy has served up for us today. If Ishant Sharma was the first, Wilkin Mota the second, and Shane Harwood the third, who is the most recent? Nice one, Joy.
I'm guessing something to do with under-19s.
Shane Harwood.
Is he not an under-19 youngster?
I'm sure they all were at some.
Michael, you sure it's not something to do with batting and bowling?
I think it is. I actually think it might be.
Sorry, Lisa. This is how he answered one Joy Factor question where he said, I think it's something to do with batting and bowling. I said, for a cricket quiz. Are you sure?
And was it?
It was.
Yeah, I'm guessing something to do.
No idea.
That name, Shane Harwood, just triggers me into thinking it might be an Aussie.
Shane Harwood.
Yeah. Sounds like one, doesn't it?
Sounds like one.
I'm surprised that Joy hasn't put Harold Larwood in that list from Bodyline, back from Joy's youth. All right, we have no idea what's going to happen, but we do know that in Ekana, Lucknow is batting first, and we're going to do some score guesses now. Just before you do that, let me tell you that 3 balls are bowled and 4 balls are bowled, and Mitchell Marsh is already out. So I want you to temper your guesses according to that.
Okay.
I'm going 190s actually today.
190s, I'm going
194.
I'm going 151.
What?
I'm going early. I'm going young.
And I'll go 201.
201, 194. I don't know if you're hitching your wagon to mine or I'm hitching mine to yours.
Well,
actually, mine to yours. You're doing better.
I actually was thinking 193.
Go for it.
No.
Let's both win. Let's destroy Michael. Before he leaves. Goes home in disappointment. Okay, well, those are our score guesses. Let us know yours on Twitter, now known as X. So please let us know what your score guesses are. We will see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. It's dinner time for us now. Get some protein in, Michael.
Absolutely.
Let's do this. So from Lisa, Michael and me, it's thank you for watching. Voltas FreshAir Coolers presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you in a bit.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ